Hello Parvathy and welcome to Galatta Plus.
Thank you, Barry. Nice to see you.
We are here to talk about you and your film, but before that, let's just get the elephant out of the room.
Yeah.
And the whole Kasaba controversy, the incident about Mammootty and your statement about the misogyny in the movie being blown out of proportion and everything, all that's gone over, all that's under the carpet now?
No, it's very much on top of the carpet.
Okay.
I feel like it's just shape-shifted into this most amazing movement in Kerala where everyone's very aware and alert about what they're writing, what they're saying. A lot more sensitivity in how people talk to each other, what kind of movies are being made here. And I feel like it must have been like one tiny speck in the machinery, like it just kind of got in and like it started rolling again, like the machine started working or got oiled in again a bit.
Right.
So I feel like it's very much on top of the carpet. It still gets discussed. I'm not as affected by it anymore. I think it has emboldened me to speak the truth no matter what. It's a constant companion for me.
Right.
Yeah, and it's good.
Yeah, but between you and Mr. Mammootty, there was no...
There was never any problem, in fact. I
right.
remember 6 days after this whole so-called Pongala started, I messaged him and I was like, you know that I didn't like attack you, right? I was talking about. He said, yeah, relax. Like, so there was no issue between us at all.
Yeah. And
by
he
the
released
other
your
people,
audio, the
of
launch,
course,
he was
yeah,
there,
he was
right?
there for the audio launch. So there was never ever any beef between us. It's the people around us that made it look like I was attacking him.
Yeah.
It never was an attack at him.
Yeah.
It was never an attack itself. It was just stating a fact that was anyway, that's something that Women's Commission of Kerala had taken cognizance. So I was just repeating what happened before.
Right.
So yeah.
Has that made you say, I'm going to be a little bit more careful about how I word my whatever statements, or has it like
No.
you said, you used the word emboldened?
Yeah.
Has it been like, I'm just actually going to go ahead and say exactly what I feel?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm a lot more aware in how media sort of convolutes stuff that you say to their benefit. I'm a lot more aware of that. So you will find me choose my platforms a lot wiser, maybe. And also a lot more, I don't know, I think I'm a lot more aggressive in terms of taking it down if somebody twists my words. I used to think that, oh no, this is such a headache, I have to go after them now. Now I find pleasure in it.
It's a sport.
It's a sport. It's an extreme sport of the mind. So I'm fine. I think over a period of time, I realized that the more I try to be in denial, oh no, I have to do this also, that also, but why? I just did this. All those whining, all the complaining kind of went away, because what happened, Barry, is that you look around, you see an army of women and men coming together and speaking about it.
Yeah.
Events that I go to, or randomly I meet somebody, they come in and say that, Parvathy, my parents may hate you, but you're definitely a point of conversation in the dinner table.
Yeah.
I'm like, great, I've arrived. That's what I needed. So the conversation moves away from Parvathy. You maybe like love me, hate me, ignore me, whatever. But did the conversation get started is all that I care for.
There was also a lot of news about how a lot of people spoke up for you, saying that it wasn't so much your attack at Mammootty as much as you challenged a male-dominated system almost, and that was what really was upsetting people. That for years these kind of dialogues have been okay, and then suddenly you're coming and saying that you're seeking attention or doing all that kind of stuff.
It's for me to be famous. My career is sinking, so I kind of I did this. I wish I was that smart to figure out what a way to attack a superstar or someone to find but I'm not. And the thing is, what I loved about the whole conversation is that the first 2 weeks maybe I was affected because I was like, everyone's attacking me, and then somehow the angle just shifted to a bird's eye view, and I was like, oh, it's not about me at all.
Right.
It's about a woman who had an opinion and she shared. And everything, it just then was like a domino effect. So I was like, the moment I realized it's not about me, I felt liberated to an extent that I was like, oh, it's about actually all of us. It could have been any of you. Just so happened that it was me.
Yeah.
It had its repercussions. I would say about, let's say 2017 is when this happened, December. 2018, 2019 was a lot of up and down. There was work, there was a lot of desire to sort of disappear. So I wouldn't pretend that, oh, right from the get-go, I was like this most, amazingly strong person. Like a lot of my close friends and family have seen how it affected my mental health and how much I wanted to just quit and go for some other job, and like, because I was like, I want peace of mind. And then the true, you know, I know this is going to sound all bookish, but the true definition of courage is like, it's in spite of fear, in spite of all this, you show up. That's what, you know, so courage came in eventually, it got plugged in.
Doesn't sound bookish at all.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've spent about 15 years plus, just about completed 15 years. Is that
16 about,
right. What's the journey been like?
Extremely fulfilling, that for sure.
Not the answer I was expecting, but still.
No?
Yeah.
What would you say? What were you expecting?
I thought maybe you'd say it had a bit of ups and downs.
Oh, lots of ups and downs.
Yeah.
But I feel I'm sitting in front of you right now, I'm like, good. This feels nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because I remember at the very beginning, the first 7 years, 8 years, I don't think a lot of people have seen that time, that period of my life as an actor. As in, they haven't met me around that time. They didn't know who I was. So, it was actually really good. I was kind of like in this low-key hibernation. Every time I do a movie, I go back home. I had my books to read. And my mom and dad used to be very, very scared. They're like, you don't engage with like real people. After your shoot, you need to make friends, you need to learn your lessons. You know, there will be people who will, you know, take advantage of you, ditch you. You'll need to make these mistakes. And I used to sort of stay away from all that. And then Interveiw became a success, and Charlie became a success, and suddenly people started seeing me. Even before that, if I would go for an award function, like people like look through you. Like, you're not known. And then suddenly, the failure of success came in. You know what that means? The failure of success is that success comes in, and then the complacency comes in, and then the noise sets in. Then everybody's noise is like in your head, and you're an empath, so you take in everything. You're a sponge without wringing it out, so you're just heavy and heavy and heavy until you have no choice but to wring it all out. All that just kept happening. At this point now, I feel I'm a lot kinder to myself. I'm back at that state when I began. I was like, I'm not in a hurry. I'm so not in a hurry. And then somewhere in between, I think I got into a hurry. And now I'm back to exactly how I began. No
You're
hurry.
breathing again.
I'm breathing again.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you exactly that the next time. Because of late, you've been signing, or rather, we've been seeing you in far fewer films.
Yeah.
Part of it, I'm sure, is due to the release schedules and the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. But also, have you become a little more like, I need to slow down, or I want to slow down?
It's strange because I'm doing like 3 projects at the same time right now. So the performance part is like back to back. So I've always been at the mercy of when the release schedule happens. So Interveiw took a long time to finish. But then the release of Interveiw and Charlie came in together. And then there was Takeoff, and then there was My Story, and then there was Coup Day. Everything happening back to back, which is great for me because it showed the variety of roles I did in a very short period of time. And then when I go back to work and everybody is like, what, you're not doing movies? I'm like, no, I'm consistently working. It's just that the release is kind of staggered, or maybe sometimes together, sometimes far apart. Right now I've just finished 3 Malayalam projects and doing my very first Telugu project. So I guess the Telugu one is very exciting. I know I'm like digressing from the questions, that I feel like I'm a child again learning a new language. I think for about 15 years, I got used to Kannada, I got used to Tamil, Malayalam, of course I know. But a new language, it's like blowing my mind. I am failing every single day so much. It's funny.
It's one of the 3 projects you're in? No?
Yeah. It's an original series that's being done by one of the OTT platforms. Not announced yet, so can't say. So that's all that's happening. But I do feel like somewhere deep down, subconsciously, I am not moving away from performance, but I'm a lot more interested in the creating part of it.
Right.
So I think a part of me is just like tip the proportion of how I spend my day more into writing and preparing for directorial than looking for more performance projects or wanting to create more performance for me.
I read once that you are the kind of person that actually likes to read the screenplay before committing to a role.
Yeah.
Are you still that person?
I am. I still definitely ask for it.
You read it, like
I
as
read
in
it. I read the
You don't say, tell me that. You don't narrate. You don't ask them for a narration.
I've always preferred reading it because I used to genuinely enjoy the process of reading it, and I always look at the left and the right side on the screenplay. It's all changed over the years. Sometimes now a very Hollywood format currently. But I used to always look at the left more than the right. Like the dialogues didn't matter much, but the nuances that the writer writes into the setting is what excited me the most. So as an actor, it really worked for me the first decade or so. But eventually, I think it slowly started setting in that when I was reading, I was directing it in my head. So that kind of shocked me a little. I enjoyed that for the first few readings maybe. And then I was like, you know what, I would like to hear it in your voice too. So it's shifted over a period of time, but I still do read it. Even after narration, I really need a hard copy. And I'm a hard copy girl. Please don't like send me a soft copy and make me like stare at a screen. It has to be a paper so I can like write my questions on the side and everything. Right. I really prefer that, yeah.
I would think that reading actually, and the fact that you're directing your own character inside your head would give you interesting things to talk to the director about, because you can say, actually I'm seeing her say it this way, and then the director says, no, actually I'm seeing her. You can have those interesting creative arguments, right?
No, those are amazing. Those I still have and everything, and I enjoy that. So that's why, like, after a narration, after if somebody's reading out the script to me or narrating it the way they want, I will still have the hard copy and I'll still ask those questions. But what happened after me reading it and directing it in my head is that on set, I would expect them to be like, oh no, they're not keeping a suggestion shot for this. Oh, what? You're taking just one master shot for this? You're not emphasizing on this line? Then I realized none of my business to be asking that. Like, that's not an area. You can ask because you're curious, but you can't be like demanding that from your director. And that, like, I did not actually actively do that. But the moment, because I'm an extremely introspective person, the moment I started having those thoughts, I was like, oh, this is what I've seen a lot of actors do, like right in front of me. And I used to then wonder, I was like, but why are you telling the director which shots to keep? Like, but you're an actor. If you were a director, then you could have done that. But I like having those healthy discussions. I would probably go in and ask a director, why did you choose this angle for this shot? Not because I'm questioning them, but because I'm amazed at, like, I wouldn't have done that. Why are you doing that? How do you see this grammar working out? So it's like a preemptive way to like keep my ego in check, I guess. Like, yeah.
You're also now directing your own film.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've written it as well?
No, I've not. I'm kind of co-writing the screenplay, but like, it's the girls. There are two girls who are writing the screenplay, but it's all them. So all our conversations are exactly this. But for me, it's more about creating moments. And I tell them these are the moments I want, and they're the ones who are writing it. So even there, like, boundary setting is something that, like, they have not set any boundaries. They would want for me to come in and like shift it in whichever way I want it. But I'm keeping that. I'm keeping it for much later for me to come in and say that if something's really not working out, I'm going to come in and do something. Yeah.
So all those, I was directing it myself while I was reading the screenplay, that's come in useful now.
Totally. Yeah. Now, I was so not prepared for this though. I remember a lot of people that I met and worked with, they all used to say that, Parvathy, the way you ask questions, you would make a good director, or maybe you should definitely direct, or good or bad, you should direct. And I used to be like, yeah, that'd be fun. But then I'd actually see what the director has to do on set, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not like ready to do all that. Just having to make so many decisions, that scares me. To be accountable for so many questions, like so many answers you need to have. I'm like, no, I'm good with just one character layer. I have so many questions. So I can't do like the whole thing I thought. But slowly, I think over the last 4 to 5 years, it's like I'm literally like, there are times I would be like this. Like, I can see myself going into the whole creation of it. I'm like, that'd be fun if I can get a team to like make it work like that. I think it was music videos for the first time. I was listening to songs. There was this one particular playlist my friend sent me, and I was in the flight after like a really great party and everything. And I kept the music on, and in my head, the whole music video of that song I started creating. And I had fun doing that. That's when I think really I was like, you know what, I think I'm ready to direct.
Lovely.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to acting in films, what does it take to make Parvathy commit to a film? For example, let's take Puzhu. When you read the screenplay, what leapt out and said, I have to do this?
Way before I read the screenplay, Harshadka called me. And Harshadka I knew from before, but for me, it was like Unda's writer. Like, he created Unda, right? So for me, I'm like, I don't want to listen to the whole story. Just tell me like a synopsis now, so I can like tell you if I have the dates. That much is enough. So he was on a phone call with me, and then first thing he said is that, I just want to make sure that you're okay with it before I even tell the story. There's going to be Mammootty acting in it. And I was like, how does that even matter? Like, who acts in a film is never my concern. But so why? No, so you don't have a problem? I was like, I never had a problem with him. Like, I've been repeating this since whenever.
Including this interview.
Including here. So I think I'm like prepared for that. I'll keep repeating this until it kind of settles in.
Yeah.
And then he told me the story. And you know what I thought? I did not think like twice before saying yes. I said, yes, give me the script. I do want to read the script also, but yes. So there are very few times I've said yes over a phone call to a film.
And to synopsis.
To a synopsis. Yeah. The main reason, which again, like I can't give away spoilers, is that the point I was trying to make during the whole Kasaba statement, it's going to prove what I said. This movie would prove it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, and for me to be part of that project also, I was like, it's a win. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this anyway. As a character, it definitely excited me. I've never done something like this before.
Right.
But on top of that, the screenplay and Mammootty's character, this is going to prove everything that I've been saying is exactly what I've been trying to say.
Right. So you just pretty much ensured a record viewership for the film.
Yeah? Yeah,
I think so. Maybe we should just change the narrative and say, okay, like, you know, say you have a decades-long enmity with Dulker, who's produced this film, and, you know, start talking about that.
That also.
Yeah,
I think like, Dulker has enough reasons to be like miffed at this point.
Really?
I remember like, I feel like, I think the whole Kasaba thing took a toll on a lot of people than between me and Mamuka. I think, and my whole question to everyone is like, did you actually hear what I said? Did you see the clip? No, it was like that. What whisper do you call it?
Chinese whisper.
Look at this Chinese whisper. I was like, there is an actual YouTube video. Can I play it for you? You'll actually hear that I've never attacked him. But I feel like, yeah, that's taken the shine away from even Puzhu, the film itself, a lot. The conversation that looms around me and Mamuka. And I think that'll at least be put to rest after this film.
So let's just make it about Dulker.
Oh, poor thing.
So he's a producer.
I would like for him to be producing many of my films. So I'll just keep mum about that. Keep working with Mamuka though, yeah.
As an actor, Parvathy, you pretty much proved yourself in many kinds of roles. How confident are you when it comes to, let's say, acting with Mamuka or with Kamal Haasan, Uttama Villain? These are very senior, very well-regarded actors. Of course, you had your experience and all that, but they've had so much more. Is there a bit of apprehension? Is there something like anything that makes you like look up to them, or is that?
No, there are certain things for sure, like working with Mamuka, working with Kamal sir, and many other people.
Yeah.
I think I've learned two things about presence of mind. I think you can't let your mind get rusty and complacent on a film set. Like you think that, oh, I know how to do that. Once that sets in, then you're like in deep trouble. So I remember every time I would work on, like in one shot with Kamal sir, I would constantly still see him like do different types just before the shot, like work it out. And I would think that, won't you get tired? And like, won't you be like out of all the options even before the shot? And he said, like, you need to have the trust fall with yourself after doing all the rehearsals and everything, that you will still get it right. Like imposter syndrome and all those insecurities have no place in front of the camera.
Wow.
But just outside of that, you can do whatever, you can feel whatever you want. But in front of the camera, the character and you need to have this ultimate faith that the character will land on you and you'll catch it and, sort of mold into it, right? I remember Kamal sir used to do these, he'd talk and he'd be telling anecdotes all over the place, like before the shot and everything, and be laughing, and then cut to like the thing that you hear about Leonardo DiCaprio and everything, right? Like the cigarette goes out and he's suddenly the character. I've seen that in most of the stalwarts that I've worked with, and including Mamuka for that matter. He'll come in, he'll look around, he'll talk to everyone, maybe make a comment or two, and talk to Ratina, make a joke, and then there's silence and then like action, and he's just the character.
Right.
And I always admire that, because I fear that, oh, am I overthinking it? Am I overfeeling it? And will I mess it up? And I realize that they come in with the certainty of a child. Like when a child is given like a game to play, they are not wondering whether I can do it. They're just going for it. There's no space of doubt. But then you talk to them later, they say that, no, I was like scared shitless on that.
Yeah.
And you're like, I didn't see that. I was like, that's one of the magic that happens between, camera, action. That's what happens. You have no space. You realize you're alone in it. There is a cameraman, there is a director. But once the set goes silent, I hate to say this because I hope nobody takes offense, that's where you literally like
I think
a feeling of God that you feel like. you are so elevated beyond your fears and your doubts that you become it. You become the craft.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a high that I always like sort of chase, and I see them do that. Yeah.
Are you one of those people who needs to be in the zone?
I need to be in the zone.
Like if it's a comedy scene, or rather if it's a tragedy scene.
I've never done comedy.
Supposing it's a tragic
scene, yeah.
You've got to be sad?
I would prefer to be.
Okay.
Not that I will be sad for the whole day, but at least like I do need the silence on set and all of that. I will ask that of my teammates. Okay. Because what happens is like there is a camera, there's a lens cleaner, there's a filter that they all put, right? I have all those processes going on too.
Yeah.
Like, and to be expected, and I think people have made such a monster out of method acting. Like, everyone's attacking method acting. I'm like, what's your problem? Like, okay, you get to do it without it, well and good. The ones who do it have a certain psychological kick out of it. Yeah. So let them have it. As long as they're not delaying the process for half a day saying, oh, I'm not yet in the zone and all that.
Right.
I get it. But I feel like most of the actors, and I hear in their interviews saying that, oh, I'm not method and all, what's wrong with people? I'm like each to their own, please. Yeah. Like, let's be respectful. Yeah. That's one. And I think I don't know what method I am, but I definitely have my methods. I've mixed everything possible, my life experience itself, and then there is Stella Adler or Stanislavski or Meisner's. You say it, I've read all the books and I've tried all the different techniques for different things, and it's a concoction of everything, whatever works. Right. Because I can be in the zone for the whole day, and then the scene can happen and I can go blank.
Right.
Then I might have to just depend on some random trigger to get to it. So, and you know, like you're trying to get in the zone and the AD will be like, ma'am, ready ma'am, shot ready ma'am, because he's doing his job, like you can't get mad at him. You go for it anyway. So suddenly you're like, okay, clearly I'm not getting into the zone. I should just like go for it.
Right.
So I prefer being in the zone. Right. I like it. There's a lot deeper that you go into.
Right.
And there's a lot of takeaway for me.
Yeah.
You know, there is so much of experience in a film that's beyond the commercial success, beyond even the teamwork, right? Selfishly speaking, I have a great time with myself when I'm on a set. Right. Like I'm away from everything and it's just me and the character jamming. Like it's a good vibe.
Yeah, and it's a process.
Yeah. It's a process and I like it. Yeah. And as long as I'm not wasting anybody's time, I would like to do all that.
So give me an example of like entering the zone. I can't ask you about Puzhu because it's this, mystery. You were fantastic in Arkariyam and I love that movie. It was just an amazing film. The character, Stella?
No, Sophie.
Sophie, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Shirley. God, I used to do this even. I used to do this even during shoot. I was like, so Sophie, and like, so I was like Shirley, and Sophie's my daughter's name in Arkariyam. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Stella, Sophie,
Shirley,
right.
I'm all of them anyway, so it's fine.
So I need to do this.
Stella, I've not played Stella yet. If my next character is Stella, I'll let you know. Yeah, I have a feeling.
Thank you. This S character that you play in Arkariyam, she's a staunch Christian.
Yeah.
And you're a non-believer.
Yeah.
What is the process? Is it just making a religious face just externally, or is there something happening within as well? I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean religious face. I don't really know what that means, but you know what I mean.
No, but I think I get what you mean. Right. But I think for me, there are very, very few times that I go external to internal. It's usually that I create something internal and then hope that it reflects externally. Right. If I have that kind of time and luxury on set, that is like if the pace of a film set is like that, then I have to do the other way in. But for Shirley especially, I remember that the fact that she believes in a God and the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. For me, I'm a non-believer, yes, but maybe in idols and idol worship and God men or God women. But I do believe in something higher than us. It could even just be just the solar system for that matter, right? Like, I mean, it's whatever is meant to be will happen, and probably nature is what I believe in.
Right.
So there is a faith that I have that doesn't really fit into any particular religion. And even that is a little shaky. So I'm agnostic, definitely. But I remember thinking when I am at my lowest and when I do surrender entirely, I'm like, I don't know who I'm speaking to and what I'm speaking to. I'm like, I know it'll happen anyway. There is a certain faith. All I needed to do is that I'll do the same thing, the extremity or the intensity and certainty with which I do that. Parvathy does that. I needed to shift that into Shirley. So everything that you find Shirley doing, of course, Shirley does believe in Jesus Christ. But I needed to only sort of kind of center into that faith in me, whatever my faith is, and sort of like draw a parallel to Shirley, because otherwise I'd be judging her, right? Like, I can't pretend to be someone with faith. So I started finding ways which are the spots in my life that I have shown faith, and then I just sort of like took from there. And see, that's like in no way method, right? Like that's something like you go deep into. Very less times did I actually go into my life experiences to sort of draw parallel to my character. But for Shirley, I needed to do that. I needed to find something for her to be believable. Otherwise, it'll look like I'm making a spoof on her. It'll really reflect on my face. So that's one thing that I did, is that I kind of noted down which are the spots in my life, which are the incidents that happened that made me go on my knees and hope that I'll just make it through and just then let go.
Right.
You know, it'll happen anyway. But I love that about Shirley too. I think I've learned a lot from Shirley, but maybe not the religion itself, but the fact is she doesn't get worried.
Right.
And Sanu's like, she doesn't get worried. She's like, either way, it's going to work out. Either we'll get the money, we don't get the money. If we don't get the money, we'll figure something else out. And for like Roy, it's like, what? Like, how does your brain work like that? And that for something up there to save you, whatever spot, like the God doesn't give you more than what you can handle, is what I've heard from a lot of people. In fact, like for me, that God is like me. Like I won't get anything that I won't be able to handle. If something comes in my life, probably because I can handle it. It's where I actually work myself to get to. So maybe like she has a God, I have me. So like, so I draw a parallel. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense, Cool. So many of your characters are serious, right? You know, it's almost like, oh, this is a very, very good heroine-centric project. Let's go to Parvathy, you know. But you also said that when you did those initial Kannada movies and you were doing those arm candy roles, that you realized that was not your zone. But wouldn't it be just fun to, you know, twirl around a tree or something like that? Just in between playing all these intense characters, you know, you just go to Dubai or like Norway or some exotic location,
that's right.
You know, do something and then, you know, get a bunch of money and come back and then go to the next serious character.
I like the money part. I do. But what you need to do for that, it numbs me out though. I don't really have fun twirling around.
At all.
I go dizzy. It's just plain physical dizziness for me. It doesn't like give me any pleasure to do that. But if you notice, soon after takeoff, I did my story. And my story was clearly for that. I remember talking to Shankar Ramakrishnan. I was like, I love the characters. I love that I'm playing, you know, both the characters. And I did all the work that I did for, like, let's say, Samira and Takeoff. Like, I have an entire backstory for both the characters and everything. Changed the voice around a little bit. And I had all that fun that I would do for an intense, tragic, serious role for this movie. So I realized no matter what the outfit of the movie is going to be like, you know, you wear a fancy outfit, the core element and the preparation remains the same for me.
Right.
But then once I do that, then it's like out of the window. And I went for it. I just like went and did whatever best I did. And Portugal was fun. There was a lot of romantic songs. I think Prithvi, me and Shankar Ramakrishnan had like the best time over there.
Okay.
So I did that too. It was just that the movie didn't work out the way we expected it to. And then now I'm waiting for the next one. So I would love to do a all-out commercial film too. I think I'll be great in comic roles. I've been plugging this in every interview of mine, so hoping that somebody will even audition me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to take my word for it. Like, audition me, see if I can actually do it or not.
Yeah.
And I feel like the opposite of like serious, intense roles is not arm candy. I feel there are so many other things that I can do. No, I'm just saying like that's how the industry does it for you. Okay, fun. Twirling around, you'll get a chiffon sari in -2 degrees. I'm like, please, no. Like, give me a sweater. I can still make it look cute. But yeah, I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
And I really do enjoy intense roles. I do. And I think I can do a great job no matter how many. But at this point, I'm a little like out of it. I think I'm done. My cup is empty. I need to go away and do something else. And for me at that point right now is like, okay, finish my performance projects and get into the directorial ones. You
also do a lot of travel to recharge.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
On your own, right?
Mostly, yes.
Is that a recharge thing?
It is definitely a recharge
like,
thing.
I want to get away from films. Is that what, that's
Not
what
exactly
it is?
films. It is to recharge the film aspect into me, like again. Like, you got to go out there and live life in a way that you are you're not the center of attention anymore.
Okay.
Like, on New York Times Square, there's like a bunch of people, like not bunch, like lots of people, hundreds of people teeming in. That's where I feel the calmest. Like, I know it's like a very touristy place, but people watching in New York Times Square is one of my funnest thing to do. And that makes you believe, or it really settles into your head that you're a blip. You just genuinely are a blip. So taking that time in to sit in a cafe, have a cup of coffee and just watch people takes you outside of yourself. And no matter how much I meditate or am aware of vanity and self and everything, you do get carried away. And it's like putting the blinkers on. And you need to put your blinkers on to do this kind of work. You need to protect certain parts of you, so you kind of go inward. So I actually travel to expand, to become people that I am. I'm a lot of people in me. Sometimes I become the only person that the media wants me to be, or the movie wants me to be, the character wants me to be. So then Parvathy can shapeshift into so many things. Like, I know this is a very random metaphor to use, but in Tanu Veds Manu Part 2, she kind of talks about Madhavan to the doctor and say, Adira ki tarah, like, kahin se bhi badh raha hai. It's a random metaphor.
Expanding like ginger.
I want to expand like ginger. That's what I actually am trying to say, is that I don't want to control my growth. I don't want to direct my growth. I want to be shocked by my growth. So I go for these travels and trips and I meet random people. I have conversations. I make friendships that last maybe just during that particular period. And I probably say a fake name. I tell them I'm a teacher or something and we have a whole conversation. I do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, totally. Like, I play characters that I want to play, but because the moment you say you're an actor, there's already a thing set in. So there are times that, sorry to all the people that I've lied to, but I do talk to them as just like one of them, like a regular job.
Okay, so wait. To take yourself out of acting,
I act.
you act that you're not yourself.
Not all the time, but I've tried that. Not like all the time.
That's like an interview in itself.
I'm not a creep. Yeah.
That's actually a couch session.
Yeah, I think I think I might write a book
do you think
on
that. You have this? That's kind of,
yeah. Meet Patricia, now I am that.
You actually said you were Patricia?
Yeah, so many people. Like, I've been Tina, I've been Patricia, I'm Ria. Then my friend said, you're not a Lisa, don't say you're Lisa, because you don't look like a Lisa.
You discuss the names that you're going to...
No, after the fact, I do share with my friends that.
Okay.
But then you make actually the best of conversations, especially long flights, 16 hours, you're stuck with like you talk and you like share a drink and like share your life and you get to know so much about the other person. And who's to say they are not lying to you?
Yeah. This is a bit of a cliche question, but I want your take on it. You've done movies with many women directors like Vijay Lakshmi Singh in Kannada, Anjali Menon you've done,
yes.
and now this Ratina, who's done Puzhu. I read a story in, I think it was Hindustan Times, where they had interviewed a bunch of female filmmakers and asked them about this same thing. And Alankrita Srivastava, who's directed Lipstick Under My Burqa, she said there is definitely a difference between the male gaze and the female gaze. And she said female filmmakers do bring something different to the table.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing. And Rohena Guerra, who directed this wonderful Sir, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but it's a fantastic film.
It is.
She said it's not so much about gender as it is about the person. And who's to say that a very sensitive male cannot direct a very sensitive female-centric subject? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so gender itself is like such a big question mark in my growth, in my journey of understanding it. So in the feminine in me, the masculine in me, the non-binary in me, all of it is having a lot of conversation, to be honest. So I am very wary to put a gaze into a gender bracket. So I do believe that definitely there is a difference, and I do believe it is about the individual. But gender and how the society has treated you based on that brings in a lot of gaze in your sensitivity as to what you want to say through that story. Like, if I make a movie like, let's say, like Sir, I wish I had, a beautiful film, where I am in my life, in my journey, as whatever the gender spectrum I might be present in, would have informed certain choices in the gaze, right? And then let's say 5 years later, a similar subject, I might pivot and I might change it completely. So I believe it's about like 5 years earlier, the actor in me would have made different choices in terms of script or in terms of what that movie is trying to tell. And it's got filtered down into a whole nother spectrum now.
Right.
Yeah, it's changing so much. Like, I'm not as selective in terms of what the movie is trying to tell. I'm not that like militant about it. I'm
not
a lot
judgmental maybe?
No,
okay.
also that. Like, because I'm suddenly, like, especially in the gender space, I've realized how flawed we all are in our understanding of it. So if there is a flaw in the story and in what quintessentially they're trying to say, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with making a mistake, you know. So I think that needs to be allowed more. My take on this is that the gaze needs to come from pure intention. There needs to be purity of intention, that's it. If you are already coming in with a certain ego that I'm right, that puts me off. That reflects in the film entirely.
Right.
That's what actually I would consider as insensitive, is that you've come in and you said that what you think is the only right, or what your gaze is the only right. You keep it loose, you let the audience breathe with you in the film, in the storytelling, no matter what gender space that you might be in that season of your life.
Right.
I'm good with it. I see that as an expression. I don't want to police it more than it should be.
But there are scripts that you probably say no to because they come with a certain
Yeah,
place, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But unlike before, I don't try to school them anymore.
Okay.
I don't like sit and explain to them why this is wrong, because I can see that first, they may not be open to that conversation. If they are open to it and if they are saying that, Parvathy, I want to understand why you said no to it, I will explain, and they might still go ahead and make that, but that I would appreciate that conversation. Because I would want that to be done to me. Like, if I'm going to an actor or a cameraman and I'm telling them a story, they might say that in their experience, this seems wrong. And I might be able to shift certain things around to kind of avoid that. Yeah, I'm learning about that, to be honest. Yeah.
So how have all these learnings, the Parvathy that you are now versus the Parvathy that you were 15, 16 years ago when you came
yeah.
there to the industry, how have all these learnings shaped your directorial debut?
I thought my directorial was going to be what I wrote. Like, I'm going to write it. It was going to be a deep, dark, slithering story. And then these girls reached out and they shared a story, and it's completely out of my comfort zone. It's a commercial film, and that's not what I thought for it to be at all. And somewhere, like, that gut, the voice inside me said, this is exactly what you should be doing. And this is something that I think over the last 16 years, no matter how loose you are in learning and wanting to, like, sort of be flexible to learn, I realized that I had a fear of failure coming in. Because the more you kind of get success, that you're like, oh, you don't want to make an obvious mistake. To be very honest, the way it's shaping right now is me preparing for all kinds of failure. And this is not like an anticipatory bail. I'm like, I'm not going to let a certain judgment of Parvathy, the actor, becoming a director. That fear cannot be the space in which like a newborn comes into.
Right.
So, it's really like the whole metaphor of pushing a baby out and like gestating, the nesting and all of that's going on. So for me, I'm like creating the most easy atmosphere where a newborn can come into and not be judged and not be hated way before even the conception of it, right? So I think that's what, 16 years of just being an actor and there is a beautiful photograph that I saw on Instagram once, and I wish I had saved it or like taken a screenshot of it, but it was of a woman, like something like this, or a big painting. She's standing in front of a mirror that's this big, and she's got like her hair down and she's naked, she's entirely naked. She's watching herself and she's doing something, and she's standing on top of something. You can't quite see it, so you zoom in, you see she's standing on a pile of eyes, and she's scooping out eyes from her skin. So as an actor, it really resonates with me, because after a point, no matter, like every once in a while, you need to scoop out the eyes from your skin.
It's not very Dali-esque.
It is, right? Yeah. And it just made me it made me feel seen, to be honest. I was like, oh, this is what I need to do. I come back home and I literally gently have to remove all the eyes that have fallen on me. Not with like hatred or despise, but I'm like, you've seen me, you've seen me, you've seen me. I gotta see me now. Let me give my mind's eye some space now. So that's where I am as an actor, as a person in life too, between even my relationships. I think I am not going inward in a way, but definitely inward. And in doing that, I'm expanding more. And I think I'm accommodating a lot more people into my life. directorial is helping me be more open to people, because that's what you need to do.
Right.
You cannot get bogged down by the energies of other people. You need to let people in.
So, best wishes.
Thank
I
you.
hope you expand like ginger and make the best
Yeah.
Parvathy movie possible.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
all the best for Puru.
Thanks a lot, Barry.